Hello and welcome to video number 3. In the first video, we discussed the evolution of the patient experience cycle, this beautiful circle we have over here, and its importance in our success. In the second video of the series, we explored the complexity of our dental practice and compared our patient experience cycle with those of industry leaders in dentistry and in other industries. And we discussed the direction in which business of dentistry is heading and what we need to do in order to maintain our leadership. And this is where we introduced the Wikiparkpedia, our secure Wikipedia training platform. We know how important training and development is, and this is the tool that's going to create the base to help us to get there. This current video provides an overview of Wikiparkpedia, how it's organized so that you can navigate through it easily and find information that you need quicker and more efficiently. In this video, we're going to talk at it at a high level, and in other videos, we're going to dive into the several features and benefits that we have available for each section. The page itself, it's organized the same as Wikipedia. You will need to log in. For anybody who doesn't have a password yet, please email me and I will get you your username and password. What is Wikiparkpedia? We're looking at developing not really a website or a wiki site that has all the information you can imagine. We know in 2020 we can Google pretty much everything. What we're trying to do is create a framework, a base on which training can be developed. We can all find information on anything, but what we really want to have in here is the cumulative knowledge and experience of all of us. We want to be able to, when we talk about procedures, especially when we talk about dealing with patients, when we talk about dealing on the clinical end, whether it's assisting, hygiene, doing dentistry, what we're looking at is finding the information that's going to help us leverage our experiences. So if somebody had a good experience or a bad experience, they've observed something, there's a tip, something that they've learned, this is all very valuable information. This is information that we'd like to collect and have in here, whether it's written, whether it's a video, a diagram, a picture. It's all very helpful information because that's going to help the new people, the people that are learning, to see this information, learn from it, and become a more effective and a stronger team member quicker, which is what we all need. The way we're going to grow is if our team members grow and if we all become better at what we do, we all become better versions of ourselves. So this is a tool that is meant to help us to do that. On the home page, we have the introduction, the 4 organizations that are part of Dental Park. We play on the words of the parks from River Park, Oasis Park, and Victoria Park, and then we have the dental strategy, the dental. Obviously, the dental is part of every dental practice, so it kind of made sense to put it all together and come up with Dental Park. We have our vision to become the center of excellence, the example of an ideal dental office of the future. This is something that's covered in greater detail in the first video. The promise to our patients to provide the most enjoyable experience, and promise to our team members of having a caring, fun, dynamic, safe, and enjoyable environment. A job stability, security in place for you to achieve your personal goals. Growth, challenge, mentorship, and support. The patient experience cycle that we have here, it is meant to really illustrate that patient experience. We start here on the top at 12 o'clock, and each of those areas, again, I'm not going to go into detail because we've done it in the previous videos, but those arrows, what they do is they show how the activities are interrelated and how success in one area will impact the success in the next one. If we do things well, the patient will circle through this entire experience and be happy and stay and refer. Conversely, if one of those areas does suffer and the circle breaks, there's a chance that the patient will fall out and we'll lose that patient. We like to use the colors. That's something that's not really used too much in the traditional Wikipedia. The reason for the color, as you will see, it allows us a couple of things. Number one, it's more interesting to look at. The color is also a navigation tool, so it shows you where you are in the patient experience cycle. There's a lot of information. It's really a maze of information in there. And by having the colors, it helps us to understand where we are in that patient experience cycle and how that fits into the overall picture. We know what happened before, we know what's coming next, and if you get in trouble, you know where to turn to and the people that can help you. The colors themselves are meant to be distinctive and unique, and they're meant to represent the 7 functions here. So as you see here on the left, it's the same cycle functions as we have here. If we click on this, we're going to get to another page, and it looks something like this. So this circle is essentially the same thing as this circle. This one is a bit bigger. For one thing, it shows the 12 support functions. So when we look at here, 12 support functions, support functions are activities that are not part of this experience cycle, meaning they don't deal directly with the patient, but they are of clinical importance to provide that great patient experience. If we don't have strong support functions, we're not going to be able to provide this experience. There are 12 different support functions. Again, we have them color-coded. I'm going to go into them a little bit later. Let's move our attention back to the 7 areas here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. For the patient contact, so this is the first contact that a visitor has with our practice. Scheduling is what happens after they had the contact and they're ready to schedule a visit. We'll click into here. We call these our navigational pages, so the first level. All of our pages are organized the same way. There's a series of links. The first one being the process locator that tells you exactly where it is. So we went from the main page to patient contact. The patient experience cycle, if you click on this, it's going to bring us to this big baby here. Responsive matrix, this is something that we're going to develop later on. What it is, it's a list of all the different functions and the tasks that are done at the practice and shows who is responsible for them. So there's a question, you know who is the person you should turn to. And then we also have training and certification level for different levels. So we call it the color belt, going from white to black. And every page corresponds to a particular level. So if somebody has a white belt and they want to go to yellow level pages, or they want to get to yellow level, they know which are the pages that they're responsible for at the white level to get a yellow, and from the yellow to orange, and so on. So for example, this one is level 1, which means in order to be certified for yellow belt, you will need to know this page. And here on the bottom we have study questions. When you're studying, when you read it, if you can answer the questions, you're going to do well on the test. Moving on to the next section, the patient reception. So once the patient actually does come in, so the patient contact went well, now we're ready for the second part. And there it consists of 3 parts: patient ready practice, patient check-in, and patient tour. So again, we have the link section, and we have the process location, and now we're in the patient reception, the yellow area. The 3 subsection of the patient reception. Now, some of the information is generic and is relevant to all practices. Some of the information is specific to a practice. So what we've done is we've created pages that are specific for the practice so that you're not learning things that don't relate to the practice where you're working. Then we have the patient check-in, dealing with the actual greeting and reception of the patient, and then the tour. Diagnosis. This is the part that deals with the different exams. We divided it into two different categories, the standard examinations and advanced. The standard examinations are examinations that are being done at our practices and are being done at pretty much every practice out there. And then we have the advanced examinations. So these are not exams that are necessarily done at all practices, but we do them at our practice. Next, we go to treatment planning. So this is the area that deals with preparation, presentation, financing, and dental benefit management. So everything that helps you to present the treatment and take care of anything you need to ensure that the treatment is done. The clinical aspect, this is where the clinical dentistry, hygiene, any service is being done. We divided this into four areas. The clinical knowledge, this is the clinical information, so information about procedures, dentistry, and so on. All services, this is specific to the services provided. Clinical preparation, this is everything that is being done prior to the treatment, in the treatment room from a clinical perspective. And then the clinical experience, so everything that's being done in the dental chair. After the treatment is completed, there is checkout. And the checkout is divided into two areas. The clinical checkout and the admin checkout. So the clinical checkout is everything that is being done clinically, still in the treatment room by the person assisting. And admin checkout, this is what's being done at the reception area. And then last, we have the relationship management. This is everything in between the appointments. We have the post-appointment follow-up, which happens right after the appointment, the confirmation reminder, patient communication, so any communication that happens with the patient throughout the entire experience, and patient management. So this is dealing with any problems that you have with the patients. So that's the 7 areas of that patient experience cycle. And then when we move down to the support functions. So there are 12 separate support functions, and we see it here as well. On the clinical side, we have cleaning and sterilization, health and safety, and lab. We purposely use the orange hues to represent that clinical component. Cleaning and sterilization, everything that deals with cleaning the room after the appointment and sterilizing. The health and safety, anything to do with keeping the practice safe and healthy. And then we have the lab, everything to do with internal and external lab. And then we have 9 business support functions. The first one, strategy. We have here in dark green. The dark green is the color of strategy. That's why dental strategy is green is our predominant color. Here's where we define the unique value. The unique value is what makes us unique. What is the reason why patients choose our practice? Then here's a plan where we devise what the unique value is and how we're going to cascade that unique value throughout the practice. Marketing deals with internal and external marketing, essentially internal marketing, which is putting that unique value right into the patient experience, and external marketing is our ability to communicate our unique value to anybody externally. Operations, so these are the protocols that deal with running the practice. The human resources, anything with hiring, motivating, training, compensation, bonus system, anything to do with team members. Now, when you look at the colors, we have the dark green, lighter green, we have the aqua color, and then we have the operation. The reason why we chose those colors, strategy and marketing are closely related. Operations is essentially execution of our strategy in an operational form. So it's there is a strong relationship here. There's also a relationship to human resources because that's how we actually deliver it, is through our actions as human beings. Therefore, the operation color is a hybrid between either of the colors. Moving down here, the next area is the financial management. This is everything that deals with finances, financial protocols, procedures, supply chain, procurement, purchase, and distribution of equipment, instruments, supplies, or anything that deals with bringing things either into the practice or distributing it throughout the practice. Technology, with anything, any technology that we use. And then we have the last two, legal, dental consulting, not really part of day-to-day industry, but these are important support functions that are needed in order for us to have a very successful practice. So this is how it's organized. I'm going to just dive in here for a second and give you one more example of the page called Initial Contact. So we're back here in green, the initial contact. I made this box here another way that we can illustrate the process of going in that circle. The first part is the initial contact, which can happen either phone, text, email, chat, or face-to-face. Once that initial contact takes place and the person has been happy with initial contact, they will schedule. So as you see here, the next part is scheduling, and this is this part here. After scheduling, we have a patient-ready practice. So from initial contact going to scheduling. Now, you might go through a patient communication. So this is the initial contact to scheduling. This is the route taken by a new patient, or a new contact, I should say. The patient communication, this is coming here from the relationship management. So this is a person that has already had service done, and now they're coming back for another service. But whether it's initial contact or somebody going through the patient communication, they're both need to schedule an appointment. After scheduling, you have to have the patient-ready practice. So the person in the greater area needs to be ready, know who's coming in, have the information out there, so that when the patient comes in, they feel that we were ready for them. Whether it's a new patient, whether it's an existing patient, you still need to have that patient-ready practice. After having a patient-ready practice, you check the patient in. When the patient has been checked in, three things can happen. One, if it's a new patient, they're going to get a patient tour. If it's somebody who's coming in for an emergency or they really don't want to have the tour, then we go right into the exam, whether it's the COE or an emergency exam specific. After the diagnosing is done, then two things can happen. Either the patient says, all right, I'm going to go ahead with the treatment, and we go with the clinical, or if a treatment needs to be presented, then this is what happens next. And again, as you probably noticed, all these colors correspond to the colors in the circle. Again, this is the reason why we do it, so that when you read through it, you know exactly where you are on the circle. So after clinical preparation, there's the clinical patient experience. Now, if we went the other way, if the patient had a treatment presentation first. After the treatment presentation, well, comes the clinical experience as well. We have the clinical experience, and here we have a couple of videos that and Nora and Hema and Michelle and Sarah and Amy and Laura put together a while ago. They're pretty fun to watch. If you haven't seen them, they're pretty funny. That show sort of positive and negative experience, and once we get more videos, and if anybody has a video, please send it to me, and I will put it on Wikipedia. And then after the clinical experience, we have the clinical checkout. After the clinical checkout, we have the admin checkout. And after the admin checkout, we have the post-appointment follow-up. And again, we see the colors going from dark blue now to gray. And after the post-appointment follow-up, we have confirmation reminder for the next appointment. Then there's some communication that happens. And after the communication, we're back to scheduling. Then from scheduling, you know the drill. We go to patient ready practice, and we're back in the circle. So this is a linear way to represent this circle. I'm going to leave it at that at this presentation. In the future videos, I'm going to go deeper into certain areas of the patient experience cycle. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.